Good morning, SKN. I'm Jamie Morris.
And I am Cortensia Carty.
Yesterday was our 200th episode, Cortensia.
So today it's 201. Oh my God. Can you feel the excitement? Yes, we are proceeding well.
Yes, definitely. And we want to thank you for joining in the celebration. It definitely was a great show. And congratulations to all the giveaway winners. And thank you to our sponsors, definitely your sponsors who
Thank you so much
with us for that giveaway.
Yes.
We continue now with the latest in local news. FAO sponsored project to help enhance crop production and quality in St. Kitts and Nevis. This from SKNIS. The Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO of the United Nations, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, is continuing with the rollout of the Protected Cultivation Systems in the Caribbean project in St. Kitts and Nevis, with a capacity building and technical training workshop this week from October 10th to 15th. The innovative Protected Cultivation Systems in the Caribbean project was officially launched in St. Kitts and Nevis in March 2021. The initial training was conducted in Nevis in June of this year. This week's workshop represents the second leg of training. The project is designed to help small island developing states, or SIDS, like St. Kitts and Nevis, face challenges that make them vulnerable to food insecurity by upscaling the protective structures used in cultivation for optimum crop production. FAO international consultant Mr. Jervis Rowe, who is facilitating the training, stated that the innovative Protected Cultivation Systems project forms part of the organization's global initiative to shore up food safety and security.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, yes, go.
Okay. We continue now. This from Win Media. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an upsurge in investment scams. People were being promised easy returns, and in some cases, people lost much of their investments and sometimes all of the money invested. Speaking on the October 12th edition of ECCB Connects, Chief Executive Officer of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, Aloisa Fasal, advised prospective investors of the key indicators to determine whether an investment offer is legitimate. Fasal said, and quote, "In most cases, the ECSRC will approve the documentation related to a specific securities investment. If a company wants to offer shares to the public or to sell shares to persons, they will have to first submit a prospectus to the Commission for approval. That prospectus will outline information about the shares and the company that is important for the prospective investors. So if someone comes to you and they are selling you shares in the Eastern Caribbean securities market, you must first ask for a prospectus, because that is a very important document that is required by law for any type of offer of shares, especially if it is being done publicly," end quote. With the increased global connectivity, investors are targeted digitally with offers from around the world. In these cases, Fasal suggests that research be carried out on the company through the securities regulator in the company's district. You remember the $800 partner hand that started right as COVID hit? I never believed in that. You're like, broke I shall be always, because I'm not going into something like that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. You're one of the savvy ones.
Indeed.
All right, moving on. St. Kitts and Nevis strengthening response to gender-based violence. This from SKNIS. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis is strengthening its response to gender-based violence by pursuing a multi-pronged approach that will tackle system and cultural reforms. On Wednesday, October 12, 2022, Junior Minister and Minister responsible for Social Development and Gender Affairs, the Honorable Iceline Phillip, shared some of the reforms taken as she addressed the 83rd session for the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. The October 10th to 28th meeting is being held in Geneva, Switzerland. Minister Phillips stated, quote, "To improve in this area, the Department of Gender Affairs has taken the initiative to build stronger relationships with the police's Special Victims Unit and support the unit's efforts to increase capacity by recruiting and training more officers in gender-sensitive response and investigation practices," end quote. The Honorable Iceline Phillip continued, quote, "To extend this work, Gender Affairs also plans to build its own staff capacity in order to provide the expertise and curriculum that facilitates consistent and sustainable gender-sensitive training to all police officers as part of the mandatory training programs," end quote.
I like this. It's needed, and I look forward to seeing the end result of it.
As we all do.
Yes, indeed. Now for the weather, today will be mostly sunny with a 16% chance of rain. a high of 83 degrees and a low of 71 degrees Fahrenheit. It is now 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a look at your hourly weather as well as your weekly weather, and we will be back with regional and international news after this break. Stay tuned.
Welcome to another edition of Infused Friday. We have another great infused water recipe for you to try out. Pineapple and sweet red bell pepper. I know what you're thinking, but this will bring a pep in your step. Here are some of the benefits you may experience from this exotic combination. Pineapple juice is rich in a variety of vitamins and minerals. It's especially packed with manganese, copper, vitamin B6 and vitamin C, all of which play important roles in the proper functioning of your body. Red capsicum or red bell pepper contains lycopene and a phytonutrient which helps to keep a healthy heart. It is also a rich source of folate and vitamin B6 along with antioxidants known to protect the body against free radicals. I know you cannot wait to try out this amazing fruit and vegetable infusion. Let's get you started with the following ingredients. You will need 6 pineapple cubes, 6 red capsicum cubes, enough fresh water to fill your jug or bottle. And the directions. Remember to wash your ingredients well. Chop and slice ingredients as necessary. Add to ingredients to a large jug or bottle. Stir ingredients and add fresh water and stir. Let it infuse, settle, and then serve into tall glasses. Can you taste the goodness already? Add more to your H2O. Check out the Facebook page every Friday for refreshing infused water recipes.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
各位朋友，大家好. Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao bang oh.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We now continue with the latest in regional news. This from Antigua Newsroom. Jamaica's Broadcasting Commission imposed an immediate ban on the playing of music that it says, among other things, promotes or glorify lottery scamming, the use of the illicit drug Molly, and illegal guns. The Commission, whose role is to monitor and regulate electronic media, broadcast radio and television, as well as subscriber television, said the directive to radio stations reinforces its commitment to keeping the airwaves free of harmful content, given the important role traditional media still plays as agents of socialization. It said the use of public airwaves to broadcast songs that promote or glorify illegal activity could give the wrong impression that criminality is an accepted feature of Jamaican culture and society. In a statement, the Commission said it could unwittingly lend support to moral disengagement and further normalize criminality among vulnerable and impressionable youth and the young adult demographic. BC Executive Director Cordell Green said it was the end product of a wide-ranging process that included focused monitoring, decoding of subculture dialect and urban slangs, deliberations on balancing free expression vis-a-vis protection from harm and consultation with the industry. So
That's the effect of all that.
and that's something I want to watch, because I feel as soon as someone drops their guard, it's going to sneak right back in. Because we're a creature of habits. We stop something for a little bit and then we go right back into it.
We are creatures of habit, but I don't think that they'll be able to do that so easily.
Yeah, that's going to be a fight.
All right, moving on to international news from ABC News. Stanford University has apologized for limiting the number of Jewish students admitted after World War II, a practice the prestigious college had previously denied took place. The university announced in January that it had created a task force committee to research allegations that in the 1950s, there were task force quotas to limit the number of Jewish attendees. Stanford University President Mark Tessier-Levine announced Wednesday that the task force confirmed those assertions that Jewish applicants had been denied following World War II due to that quota. Tessier-Levine said, quote, "The report finds that actions to suppress the admission of Jewish students to Stanford did in fact occur in the 1950s, and that the university for years afterward denied that this occurred," end quote. One of the examples included in the report is a 1953 university memo that expressed concern among university administrators about the number of Jewish students being admitted to Stanford. Soon after, a sharp drop in enrollments of students from two Southern California high schools known to have substantial populations of Jewish students occurred, according to the report. Wow. At least it's in the light now.
Yes, and it's done with.
It's in the light. Can you imagine that actually occurred? Wow.
Yeah.
In any event, there you have it for the latest today. Interesting lineup for you. We're going to be talking with Jermaine Mike from the Bureau of Standards.
And then we have our Caribbean connections as we connect with John Messiah out of Antigua. And then we also connect with Gian Franco out of Trinidad. Do we have a game today so I can beat you? And then we have a little surprise for you, but you got to stay tuned to know what that surprise is. There you have it for the latest today. So much more after the break. Remember, stay tuned.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
You see that new boy that just joined the school last week? He brought me a chocolate this morning because I showed him the way home from school yesterday.
You like him?
No, he's just my friend. Plus, he is my neighbor. He asked me if we can walk home together for lunch tomorrow, and I told him yes.
I don't like these big boys. They tend to like to touch girls without your consent.
What do you mean by consent?
It's when one person agrees to give permission to another person to do something.
He is cute though.
Guys, you won't believe what happened the other day with the new boy from school.
What happened?
The other day, while walking home with the new guy, he followed me into my house. I thought it was okay because he seemed friendly and respectful. So I turned on the TV and offered him a soda. We sat in the chair together. Then he leaned over and kissed me. I was so shocked I sat up straight and asked him why he did that. He said he thought I liked him. I told him not in that way.
What? Girl, you should have never allowed him inside your parents' home.
My parents will be very angry if they meet any boys in our home plus kissing me.
Guys, we don't need to be burdened down with teen pregnancy and relationship problems at this time. Boys need to understand that girls are not sex objects.
Remember, you have the right to consent to every activity being performed, from holding hands to anything more, and to change your mind at any time.
If your partner does not respect your wishes, this also is a form of abuse. If you, your friend or family member is being abused, you can contact one of the numbers listed below for help. Department of Gender Affairs 662-5492, Special Victims Unit 662-7077, Counseling Unit 465-5000. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. How much do you know about international standards? A large percentage of the population may be completely oblivious to this term, but lucky for us, Jermaine Mike, the head of standardization and air quality at the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards, is here to educate us. This is quite fitting, of course, since today is World Standards Day. Good morning, Jermaine, and welcome back to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning, and thank you again for welcoming me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. So firstly, we want to know, what are international standards?
International standards are standards that are used throughout the global community. They are often recognized and accepted in almost every country. So that's international standards, as opposed to regional standards, which are mostly accepted within the region, has a more regional context, you know, to the Caribbean flavor, our sugars and everything like that. And then there's, you know, the national standards, which applies locally, although we can have international and regional standards as national standards. Yes.
Okay. So can you give us an example for the novice of a national standard?
A national standard, well, right now we have adopted around 211 plus 7, so that's around 218 standards. Wow. And so because we have adopted them and are now using them for St. Kitts and Nevis, they are known as national standards.
Okay.
Yes. So stuff like packaged water, food labeling, beach standards, you know, tourism beach standards, that kind of thing. They're now known as local, national standards.
Tourism beach standards. Educate us. What does that mean?
So with a beach standard, you often see that sometimes you have dispute. Sometimes, well, this is just one example. You can often have disputes on the beach and so forth. And you know, the standards can speak to how the beach is supposed to be used. And it also tells you some of the minimum requirements that is supposed to be on a beach, especially if it is governed by the state. So you're supposed to have like bathroom, you know, nobody's supposed to be going there to pay $1 or something like that. They must have access to the bathroom. Have to tell you, you don't have to tell you to buy something to use the bathroom. It must have showers, you know, that kind of thing. You can't just have all of the cheap furnitures on the beach. You have to let people be able to use the beach.
Okay.
Yes, stuff like that.
Okay.
All right, I'm hearing standards in one, and obviously it goes toe-to-toe with enforcement, which is somewhat more challenging, I imagine. That's where the bulk of the work is. What can you tell us about, let's say, the connection with the theme for this year, Share Vision for a Better World? How does that work hand in hand, or does it?
Well, in terms of a shared vision, it's more like, you know, standards are there. And when we say shared vision, standards are created to protect consumer health. It's there to foster innovation. It's there to protect the environment. It's there for trade and so forth. So all of these are a global, the global shared vision, as you put it, right? So standards are there for that. So that's why, I guess, in this case, they have the theme. Standards are for a shared vision.
Okay. We want to know, how will World Standards Day be observed here in our federation?
Well, by me doing this.
Nothing else, Jermaine?
No, this is just one. Okay, this is one aspect, right?
Okay,
but we have two businesses today that we are going to be offering them certificate of achievement, and these two businesses, they have bought the national standards. It's important to say that they've bought it because this is how the international community regulates those standards and accepts those standards. They have also, with their product, they have also committed themselves to improve their product, especially for the consumer and even for their own benefit, using those same standards, right? So we find that since they've been using it, since they've bought it, since they've come and to the Bureau of Standards and glean the advice of the Bureau of Standards, their product has skyrocketed. And so these two companies, one is owned by Jacinta Masham. She has like a beauty line, and then the other one is Island Purified Water.
Oh, nice.
Glad that you mentioned the water. Happy for Jacinta as well. In terms of labeling requirements, I know that was one of the things that I saw in the news very recently as to labeling for products, particularly water, I think it was. Was that one of the things?
There's general food, there's labeling for food. There's also, every product must have some kind of labeling attached to it, right? So if there's, the water specification standard would speak to labeling within it. So there's just a specific way that it may be for the labeling of water.
You know, I never knew water expire until a few days ago when I was going through some waters and I realized they had expiration dates on them. Why would water expire though?
Well, I wouldn't say water specific. I wouldn't say it expires. I will say that there is a best before use, and there's two different terminologies for that. Expire, cannot use it at all.
Yes.
Best before, can use it. So, but for water, there may come a time where it may have lost its oxygenation, so it doesn't taste as good, right? Or it becomes stagnated. It just like flat water, so it just doesn't have that same vim as it was when it was first bottled. Yes.
All right, so we'll be back to continue this discussion in a moment. Stay tuned.
So you mentioned something about a lump.
Babe, I just felt something on the left side of your breast. Tell me if you feel it.
Do you do your self-breast examinations monthly?
No, I don't.
Well, women are supposed to examine their breasts once monthly. Let me show you how. When at home, you can check while standing in the shower or while lying down. Simply place a pillow under your right shoulder and your right arm behind your head. Using your left hand, move the pads of your fingers around your right breast, gently covering the entire breast area and armpit. Use light, medium, and firm pressure. Squeeze the nipple and check for discharge and lumps. I did find a lump in the upper left breast. I am not sure what this means. Therefore, I need to refer you to the DMO or you can see your private physician. The doctor is going to examine you and recommend an ultrasound or a mammogram. Listen, not every lump is cancer. 80 to 85% of the time, the lumps found are benign. That means they are non-cancerous. Lumps in the female breast or armpit can be non-cancerous tissue growth or fluid buildup, or a number of things that can present themselves at various times. But sometimes it's a sign of cancer. That is why I am referring you to see the doctor.
Okay, nurse. Thanks for your help.
Good morning, SKN. This is Lyrical. I just want to say blessings to you. There are a happy place in the life if you live in there. A happy place in the life if you live in there. Cause them at a happy place in the life. And they can't change. And they just come out here to do right. So whether day or night, they will never ever change. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We're continuing our discussion with Jermaine Mike, the head of standardization and air quality at the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards. Jermaine, what can you tell us as to whether or not there is a strategy for standardization in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, our strategy at the Bureau of Standards is mostly to adopt as many standards as the country needs or may not even know that they need, right? Especially in the areas of food, construction, lumber, steel, and those kind of things, right? That people may take for granted, and try to encourage those same industries that uses these materials or uses these services or even make these goods, try to encourage them to use them so that they can give the people of St. Kitts a better product, safer product. So that is, I would say, our standardization strategy. We also have some, how should I put it? We also have some jurisdiction over certain products that we also do or would like to start to regulate, for especially before it can reach to the populace of St. Kitts and Nevis, try to stop it at the border and so on.
What are some of those products?
Like, for example, we often talk about labeling. And when we look at it, we often look at it as local products and that kind of thing. But there are things that comes into St. Kitts, for example, you may have baby food that comes in and it says for export only. And I'll be like, well, why would you have something that says export only? Is it not good for your country that you have to only have it as export only here in St. Kitts and Nevis? And so even those kind of things, you will find there's chicken, you will find that there's certain meats that just, it comes with a small little label for pet, for not for human consumption, but then it reaches in our diet because somebody didn't read that kind of thing and so forth. So just certain things like that.
So, in listening to you, and you actually are jogging my memory here because I've seen those labels for export only and so on.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to whether it's your experience that perhaps the standards are different, and so that's why if products are made, then they have to be exported because they wouldn't pass the bar or meet the bar, domestically.
Just to give you an example, real world example. One country was shipping toys to another country. Lead is universally known as something that is hazardous to human health.
It is.
However, because that country didn't have the necessary laws in place to prevent lead, the other country started sending toys over there that had in lead. So it's morally wrong. But because they don't have any laws over in that country, and because it is a billion-dollar industry over in this country, they ship it over. And so these are some of the things that we kind of would like to put in place using the standards first, so that when you do regulation, you can say that here is the standard that the people of St. Kitts have adopted, and here's the regulation that came from these standards. They didn't just fall out of the air.
Very important indeed.
So what is one of the standards that we would have adopted that we are not using just yet?
Water.
Okay.
We're using it, but we haven't regulated it.
Okay.
Food labeling. Although we're trying to, right now these are just moral persuasion. However, I've been working hard, and I do have draft regulations for them already.
Good stuff.
So I just kind of need to send them out right now to the various stakeholders so that they can have comments and so forth on it.
All right, so once it's regulated, what happens after that?
Once it's regulated, then you just can't be in contravention of the law, essentially.
Okay, fair enough. So enforcement again.
Yes, enforcement. And more than one agency can regulate now. So now customs would have that power because they would say, hey, according to the Bureau of Standards legislation, this cannot pass. Health Department can say, according to this cannot happen. Consumer Affairs could also use it. More than one entity can use it because it now has become a national legislation.
So last month, there was a launch of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards project, strengthening the national quality infrastructure with specifically targeted agro-processors. Tell us about that.
Well, one of the things we would like to get the agro-processors up to scratch so that we can have professional looking products. We already know we have quality products, but we just need them to come up to the standard, as we would say, up to standard in terms of the packaging and the labeling and so forth. Because our agro-processing product is ripe for trade, right? But you have to meet those requirements. Sometimes those other countries have technical barriers in place, and they said, well, this is what we have for our country, so you need to come up to this standard. And a lot of it has to do with testing, right? So we, as a Bureau of Standards, are trying to get a lot of the machinery to make sure that we can do testing for the agro-processors to meet the requirements out there for when they try to find those markets.
So then I'm curious to know again, if we're talking about regional standards versus national standards, is it your experience then that regional standards could facilitate trade?
Can facilitate, yes, it can facilitate trade.
Are national standards sometimes more specific than the regional standards? Would that also operate as a bar to trade?
It can be, and I'll give you an example. Jamaica loves ackee. Ackee is something that is people attribute to Jamaica. So they made ackee standards, which is specific to that. You don't really see, even though we eat it and it grows here, we don't really see us consuming that like that and so forth.
Yes.
So ackee is one specific example. It doesn't really grow in too much parts of the world and so on. So that's one example. There are other indigenous things that agro-processors use that you would probably need testing, nutritional testing and that kind of thing, right? That may not necessarily be out there on the market that is in a database for nutritional values and that kind of thing.
So Jermaine, do you have any final words for the public on World Standards Day?
Well, I always encourage people to contact the Bureau of Standards, see what it is that we have, see what it is that we are doing, especially those within the business sphere, those that trade and so forth. I often also encourage them to help us in terms of construction of our legislation, making sure that it is sound, it is not biased, and it is as fair as possible to both the consumer as well as the manufacturer or the trader.
Very engaging discussion, Jermaine.
Yes.
Thank you so much, World Standards Day. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
I eat some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart. It's Infused Friday. Welcome to today's recipe. But before we get into that, let me give you some information about the benefits of H2O. Infused water adds more to your H2O. It not only gives you the same refreshed feeling that water does, but it adds flavor and nutritional benefits. Adding different combinations of herbs, fruits, and spices to your water can lead to endless combinations that are not only delicious, but extremely good for you. Helping to control bloating, because many women suffer from bloating due to excess salt or hormonal fluctuation. Water-rich foods such as lemon and cucumber can help control this problem. How does this link into relaxation? Well, if you infuse your drink with herbs that are linked to relaxation such as sage, this often helps. What are the benefits of anti-aging? Well, if you add dark berries and pomegranate seeds, which are rich in antioxidants, this can help protect against the effects of aging. Let's talk about metabolism. Many fruits can boost your metabolism and help with weight loss, so be sure to add in your raspberries, strawberries, tangerines, and any other delicious fruit. Now, let's move on to the recipe for this Friday, which is watermelon and lemon mint. Ingredients: 1 small cup of watermelon pieces, 1 large lemon sliced, and a handful of fresh mints. Now for the directions, very simple. You just need a pitcher and add 1 small cup of watermelon sliced, 1 large lemon sliced, and a handful of fresh mint. Muddle ingredients and fill pitcher with ice water, and you're good to go. Add more to your H2O. Check out the Facebook page every Friday for refreshing infused water recipes.
These teen boys nowadays get me so upset. I see these teen girls with their big bellies and you want to tell me y'all couldn't protect her and yourself? Come on. Now don't tell me no stupidness about you feel embarrassed about getting a pack of condoms or asking somebody for one. That ain't nothing to be ashamed about. You should be proud that you are making a wise decision, but you still have to abstain from having sex with someone under the age of consent. If your boys are pressuring you to have sex and you don't want to, then don't. You are in charge of your life, not them. I heard another one saying it's sweeter without a condom. But my granny always told me, no glove, no love. So let me tell you something. It's sweeter to have money in your pockets and not have to support a child at that young age. Before I say anything else, the best way to prevent teenage pregnancy is to abstain. In other words, no do it. Let me talk to the big men troubling underage girls.
Why you sleeping with your daughter? You not live clean. Your girl at 16 and your daughter at 13. So girl look me, but me know in that big man no deal with back pan back.
You understand where I'm coming from, right?
This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom. no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
Yo, what up? It's your boy N Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
Has anyone ever touched you here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and support from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Earlier this year, we featured Dr. Tell us all about the organization. Today we welcome two other representatives to tell us about Helen's Daughters SKN chapter. Carol Harris, member, and Tracy Blanchett, communications support. Welcome to Good Morning SKN, ladies.
Welcome, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
It's our pleasure indeed. So what can you tell us about the launch ceremony taking place? The launch ceremony taking place.
I want to invite everyone, and I'm very excited about it. You could say I flew from Barbados to St. Kitts for the launch, and it's going to be this Saturday, 1 o'clock at the Agriculture Department in Legreet. And I'm expecting not just women, you can bring your children, you can bring your husbands, and for those who have the stalkers, they can come and learn too. It's open for everyone. It's a family affair.
Now that's extreme, but
I
get you.
expecting that. Bring them along.
I don't think stalkers need invitations, by the way.
Bring them along.
But I do want to share a little bit about what we do at Helen's Daughters so persons can know what they can expect. So we're a nonprofit organization that's based in St. Lucia, and we cater to women in agriculture. So whether you have your backyard garden, whether you have a farm, whether you are producing products that come from the ground, nature, this is an organization that invests in women in that sect through training, through funding opportunities, and through networking with the experts throughout the region. So we're based in St. Lucia. We've done work here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and also in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'm excited about, Carol would have mentioned the launch tomorrow for St. Kitts, because there's a lot of buzz around the St. Lucia launch, which was excellent. but we cannot wait to share our plans for the Federation, what that can look like for women in agriculture.
So ladies, either of you can answer this question. What has been the impact of Helen's Daughters St. Kitts and Nevis chapter on our local female farmers? Denise, you want to start first?
So I can go. So we have a executive here on the island that is really made up of female farmers and female in agriculture on St. Kitts and Nevis. So we have a good mix throughout the Federation, and so already our women have gone through our Farmers Academy, where it's an intensive program where they learn about nutritional marketing. They learn about the best ways for growing certain crops. They learn about developing their business skills and starting their own businesses and how to get grants and funding. So our Kittitians and Nevisians have been exposed to that. They've also visited some of the best farms here throughout the Federation to see some of the best practices. So it's a growing number. We have some set plans that we're going to announce at the launch. So you have to come to hear. But I'll just have Carol maybe share her experience, because she was a part of the Farmers Academy, and she would have joined and been inspired, so she can share more about what the impact was like for her.
What I will say to you that I joined the Farm Academy Helen Daughters because I'm a volunteer with the St. Kitts Nevis Association of Persons with Disabilities. And one of the things that we want to do is use agriculture as a means of empowering persons with disabilities. So the training that I received, because I said, how can I help them if I'm not too familiar with some of the technical areas? So the training that I will get, I will use it to assist persons with disabilities, and we're hoping to expand it to include the elderly. And because it was so interesting, I started to not just see it as being somebody helping somebody else, but I used it myself. So I was learning virtually because it was overseas, but I was able to implement everything. It was very hands-on, and I had some things go in my backyard. My confidence was built, and we started selling things from my backyard. So yeah, in a short space of that 8-week training. And then my sister was here. So everything I learned, I passed on. I said, I did this thing today. I'm very talkative, by the way. You know. So everything I learned, I'm sharing with my family members. And so my sister, she went on, she registered as a farmer, and she started something. So for her and for other women, it's going to be a mean of earning income, because at the end of the, especially during the pandemic, when lots of things were slow, we were trying to find somewhere, how can you earn a living without having to, in a sense, depend on a man? Because your income might be small, but as a woman, you can free yourself, and you wouldn't have to tolerate some people you don't want to have in your life. And so with agriculture, and then what they taught us, you can specialize, find that niche market, and they even taught us marketing. So you might have something just in you could be in town, and you could be growing some seasoning in some, recycled, some containers. And just the way you market what you have, you can make a difference. And then some of my other, I'll call them friends, because with their network, we're like family now. They shared what they're doing, and I learned things like duck eggs. I didn't realize we sell duck eggs in the Federation.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, in Nevis. And there are lots of different unique local drinks that people are making, and they were sugar-free. So for some of the diabetics, some of the participants have products that pretty interesting. So I was like, wow, we have so much here. But I guess it's for us to get probably in the supermarket, because for some of us, we sort of call people and ask, I guess it's informal. So for now, there are lots of talent out there. There are lots of people doing things on their own. And I guess as Helen Daughters grows and we have more exhibition, I'm hoping we'll see some of what we have, in Barbados. Because again, for me, whenever I come to St. Kitts, I rush and I eat all the things I shouldn't because I don't see them there. So I'm hoping through Helen Daughters and the connection between St. Kitts, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, that we'll have some exchange of products.
One of the things that you said reminded me, both you and Tracy, about the quest for independence of women. Reminded me of the point that Dr. Louise made when we talked to her about Helen's Daughters, the fact that the program does seek to empower women to create a better life for themselves outside of that dependence on males. What I want to know from you now is, in terms of the requirements for membership, or any woman who's interested in joining Helen's Daughters, what are there, if there are any, and how many members do you currently have?
Well, what I would say that I didn't even have like a fam. I just had some things in my backyard that I just had. And some people, so you, just anyone, you just apply, but the demand was so high. I applied in 2021 and I didn't get through. So yes, there's lots of women. Yeah, so you guess you just have to be female. And I think we had each cohort would be about 20, 25 persons.
Yeah.
So it's a good group, and we interact through social media, and we're bouncing off of each other. Anybody know where could get such and such? Anybody? It's very interactive. And again, because it's women, it wasn't a stiff class where if you hear a child in the background, "Mommy, I want it," it was very relaxed. And because we recognize women, you have to juggle what you do financially and a family.
Yes.
So it was very open, it was very relaxed, and you didn't feel like you were in a classroom, and it was at night. And sometimes we go out till 9 o'clock, but it feels so relaxing, and the trainers were actual practicing farmers. There's Matthew Tross from Nevis, A1 Farms, and he was the best one. That's the name I remember because he was the best one. We had other trainers in finance and nutritional marketing and food safety, but he was the most exciting one.
Can I just add that persons who are interested can go to our website, helensdaughters.org, and sign up. When we think about women in agriculture, sometimes, women are not sometimes, but most times women are at the back, or they're in the supporting roles. But what we've seen through Helen's Daughters is that we are literally changing the narrative of who is a female in agriculture. She can look pretty, she can have nice nails, she can be dressed down, she can have an office job and have a farm, she can be a dog mom, she can have 5 children. Once you are interested in agriculture, no matter your profession, no matter your degrees, no matter your life experiences, you can join us. We've seen persons who join just because they're curious. They've seen what we're doing, they want to know more, and they caught the bug of, planting and growing their own. And then there are others who have a vision already before they join Helen's Daughters. So even if you're just curious, even if you have a vision, even if you are still hesitant about what I want to do in agriculture, you can join us. And we see that, when our women are empowered, our men become empowered as well, because we influence the family and our partners. So it's really a generation of change that we are seeing. And we don't want anyone to discount themselves and say that I am not, I'm qualified enough or interested enough to join Helen's Daughters.
Then, Tracy, I'm going to direct this question to you. We just spoke with a representative from the Bureau of Standards here in St. Kitts. How closely does Helen Daughter work with the Bureau of Standards in the islands that they are located?
Absolutely. We believe in partnerships. So, we cannot do this work alone. And we're above the advocacy work. We're thinking and keeping on the agenda policy change and what that would look like for each island. So our executive team, we are in consultation and discussions with the ministries, with the bureaus on the island, with the organizations that control the money on the island, to have agriculture in the agenda so that we can at least be outside of the advocacy part of it, the doing the nice things and the launch. We are literally thinking about how can we make living affordable for the people on the islands, and how can we elevate our women who are part of our groups, that they can have sustainable practices and an income. So partnerships are welcomed as well. There are persons who might be hearing this and you want to, partner with us in any way, whether it's through education, whether it's through finance, whether it's through sponsorship. We are open to those discussions in addition to what we are already doing.
All right, so we have, as we close this interview, a short video that we're going to take a look at, which showcases Helen's daughters. Let's take a look at it.
My inspiration actually came from the days when I lived with my grandmother, and she always had a backyard garden, growing tomatoes, herbs, sweet potatoes, yams, bananas, just everything. So when I had my own home, I actually had a backyard garden which started in 2012. Eventually, this particular asset, this piece of land, I inherited from my dad, and we came up with the idea of starting this farm. So it started 1 year ago in September of 2021, where we now have passion fruits, which were actually planted on the 21st of December 2021. So far, we have reaped passion fruits, and also we have some which are now on the vines. In addition to passion fruits, we've also grown sweet potatoes, sweet peppers, tomatoes, and we also had a crop of butternut squash. Today, you can see the sorrel on the farm, as well as other plants like bananas, and we have some sweet cassavas and peanuts. My future plans are number one.
All right, so that was a very short video, and obviously there was so much more to speak to. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but you have really shed light on the importance of Helen's daughters, both of you, and we want to thank you for your work. And of course, the launch again coming up this weekend. So again, thank you for joining us for another edition of Good Morning SKN today. Pleasure seeing you both.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Come again soon.
All right, we'll be back in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Hello and welcome to your favorite day of the week, Friday. It's Infused Friday, and you've guessed right, we have another marvelous infused water recipe for you today. Strawberry, lemon and green tea infused water. So let me introduce you to the benefits one can expect from this selection. Strawberries. These potent little packages protect your heart, increases HDL, which is good cholesterol, lower blood pressure and guard against cancer. Packed with vitamins, fiber and particularly high levels of antioxidants known as polyphenols. Strawberries are a sodium-free, fat-free, cholesterol-free and low-calorie food. The bottom line is lemons contain a high amount of vitamin C, soluble fibre and plant compounds that give them a number of health benefits. Lemons may aid weight loss and reduce your risk of heart disease, anemia, kidney stones, digestive issues and cancer. And finally, green tea contains healthy bioactive compounds. These compounds can improve brain function, increase fat burning. The antioxidants may lower the risk of some cancers, contribute to the prevention of type 2 diabetes, and assist in the prevention of cardiovascular disease, also in the protection of the brain from aging and reduce bad breath. Amazing benefits. Let's get infusing. Here are the ingredients. 1 bag of green tea, 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of hot water, 1 lemon halved, juiced and half sliced, a handful of strawberries halved, and ice cubes for serving. Directions. Place tea bag in a cup of hot water, let it steep for 5 minutes, then remove, and let it cool before pouring into a jug or pitcher. Add the remaining ingredients and let it infuse for 30 minutes before serving into a large glass filled with ice. So delightful. Add more to your H2O. Check out the Facebook page every Friday for refreshing infused water recipes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Has anyone ever touched you here, here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
Today on Good Morning SKN, we are introducing our newest segment, Caribbean Connections, where we will feature guests, events, cultures, and activities from around the Caribbean region every Friday. We are honored to welcome our first Caribbean Connections guest, an attorney, political party leader, junior parliamentarian, former minister of government, and proud mother. Yes, Miss Joanne Messiah of Antigua and Barbuda. Good morning, Miss Messiah, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning to both of you. Good morning to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, those who are joining via the several social media platforms, and those far afield. And if you just allow me just to shout out some of my favorite people in St. Kitts and Nevis, that would be Rosalind, Hazel, Dwyer, and Tamerlane. There are others, but I don't have enough time to list everybody. So I'll just list my top 4. Yes.
Indeed. So we'll begin this way. Yesterday was World Food Day, and you are credited with developing the school meals program in Antigua and Barbuda. How important is it for children to have proper nutrition for learning?
Thank you so much for that question. And indeed, we did celebrate World Food Day yesterday. And it is very important because there have been numerous studies done the world over, and right here in our region, which indicates very clearly that there is a critical and crucial link between good nutrition and learning. And particularly in the times in which we live, just coming off of the heels of an intense pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, but where, there were several lockdowns, schools were closed. Those countries which are fortunate to have school meals program provide a critical nutritional support base, particularly for children who come from deprived and depressed socioeconomic backgrounds, families, communities. And during the lockdown, I know here in Antigua and Barbuda, a lot of children would have been at a disadvantage, although the government in some of the most needy communities, they did take meals to the communities so that children could be better served. And so we also have to understand programs such as National School Meals Program provide excellent markets for our local food producers, our crop and livestock farmers, our agro-processors. And here again, it demonstrates quite clearly that all of the sectors of our economy are linked and interlinked. Sometimes, we have persons in government, ministers, for example, who behave as though their ministries are silos, that they are, onto themselves. But every single thing in life is linked. And so I think school meals or just food production generally is an excellent example of how critical it is to our economy on a whole.
All right, Ms. Messiah, you worked as a parliamentarian for 15 years, and you've held several portfolios, including trade, agriculture, and some areas of foreign affairs even. What would you say working with these different portfolios has taught you about yourself and about the people of Antigua and Barbuda?
I think I just repeat in part what I just said. It has taught me that it has underscored really that adage that we grew up with, that no man is an island and no woman is an island for that matter. And so my experience and exposure to stakeholders in these several portfolios, again, underscored for me just how critical trade, foreign affairs, agriculture, education, intellectual property, for example, they are so critical to how those people we elect, those leaders we elect, advance our country and our economies and our people. Because unless we have a clear idea as to where we're taking our respective countries, unless we understand fully the need to reorganize, to redevelop, to refashion our economies, our educational systems, how we interface with each other in the sub-region and the broader CARICOM, how we interface with countries and leaders further afield, how we leverage our foreign affairs to the betterment of our people above and beyond what sadly has been a practice where we just beg a little computer here, we beg this, we beg that. The strength of our foreign affairs, I don't think, has been fully appreciated by our governments, particularly in the sub-region.
Oh. Ms. Messiah, you are currently the leader of the Democratic National Allegiance Party. So that's Antigua and Barbuda's newest political party.
Yes.
Also, through your involvement in the Caribbean Institute of Women in Leadership, CWIL, do you see more opportunities for women participating in leadership and politics?
Sure, certainly. Yes, and it's the Democratic National Alliance.
Alliance. Yes, I said allegiance. Yes. I apologize.
Yes, alliance. That's fine. That's fine. Certainly. I think we recognize the world over, certainly in our region, the critical role that women have traditionally played in our politics. But unfortunately, we have been led to believe that the best place for us is to play a supporting role in the campaigns, in ushering in men into positions of leadership and management and responsibility. And but for us women, I dare say, a lot of the leaders we've had would not have been where they are. And I think we are past the time when it is both ripe and right, as I like to say, for women to take our rightful places in the governance of our respective countries. I'm pretty sure it's the same in St. Kitts and Nevis, that women comprise the majority numerically in our countries. Women are the backbone of society, churches, trade union movements, politics, political parties, our communities. We are the bedrock of our societies. And to the extent that we've been groomed, the way we're socialized with these gender-specific roles that I hope no longer obtain as they did when I was growing up, we are suitably trained and groomed for leadership. And I think when I look around many sectors, education, IT, for example, even manufacturing, I see women at the forefront of these sectors and in many organizations. And I think the progression to politics is a natural one. And so I expect to see in short order more women being elected to our respective parliaments across our region.
Lovely.
Ms. Messiah, we will take a very short break, but we will continue discussing with you on the other side. More GMS Scan in a moment. Stay tuned.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you.
And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are continuing our conversation with Joanne Messiah. Ms. Messiah, we hear a lot about creative economy. Is this an area where you see women and young people benefiting? Creative economy.
Surely, absolutely. I think the creative economy falls under the broad banner of the orange economy. And the orange economy has always been with us. It has been with us in our cultural expressions, our carnivals, our festivals, our craft vendors. We see it on our beaches. We see it in our tourism product, which primarily drives many of our economies in the sub-region. And it is here I recognize and continue to be in awe of and impressed by the innate creativity of our people. And our people in this regard have primarily been women. And so I see the creative economy, as you describe it, the orange economy, as the best place for the emergence of new talents, new leaders, both among women and especially among our young people. And so I think once we get our governments to understand that linkage, which I spoke about earlier, and understand that this untapped, underdeveloped, and under-resourced sector needs to be right-sized. I believe it is here and then that we will see a greater diversification of our economy. We will see greater returns for investments when we make it in our people, and a better tourism product, if you will. The orange economy is the third largest growing economy globally. Hollywood is a perfect example of the creative economy, the orange economy. And I'm not sure why historically our leaders have missed this, but we are in a new time, a new space. The world has become smaller with globalization. And I trust that the stakeholders in this sector will begin to shout louder to our respective governments to make those necessary investments in them and in that sector. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. Now I think this is going to be my favorite question. We know you're a mother of 2 sons.
Yes.
Do you find it challenging to balance your career, causes, and advocacy, all while being a mother?
Okay, so I think for me, it has had its challenges, but it has not been overwhelming, simply because I have been fortunate to have a very supportive family network, which would include godparents. And so my children grew up with a lot of surrogate mommies around them.
Nice.
And so they helped to keep my private life in check and in balance. Now, I also have to say there is really no substitute for you being present in your children's lives. And I think it's just a matter of how you balance. So you have to carve out space for family time. If, as women in politics, we are going to ensure that we raise well-adjusted and balanced children who, of course, will grow up to be well-adjusted, thoughtful, responsible, respectful adults. But it is not without its challenges. And I think the younger your children are, as women, when we get into politics, the more challenging it can be. Yes.
Ms. Messiah, did you ever feel pressured to prioritize your role as a mother over your other ambitions?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, as I reflect, my sons would have told me that, they would have reminded me that, that I'm absent in their own way, that it's nice to be picked up by, Auntie Rose, by uncle, by Gotti this, Gotti that. But sometimes it would have been nice if mommy had picked us up, if mommy had come to the game, if mommy had watched them play a sport. And so, I sort of, to deal with my own guilt about that, I have just promised them that when they have their children, I'm just going to be the best supportive nan that ever lived on the face of the earth. And I'm really working towards that.
Sounds like a fair trade-off to me.
Yes.
So tell us about your love for gourmet cuisine. Are you a gourmet cook, or do you just appreciate it?
Yes. Oh,
you are a gourmet cook?
Of course.
Can I come over sometime? Because I'm a foodie.
When next you're in Antigua, you let me know. And once I'm available. No, I've really always taken a lot of pride in my my creativity when it comes to cuisine.
Nice.
And I think that anybody who's listening, who's sampled my cooking would attest to that. I think it's a part of the balance in one's life. And so I'm a vegetarian, and I've been so for more years than I care to remember. But I do cook regular food for the non-vegetarians.
Okay.
And I think what I do well. I take pride in it.
stuff.
I just, for years, I used to subscribe to Food and Wine magazine. And so when I infuse, what I would have read with our local cuisine as well, I
Yes.
think I come out on the happy end of that spectrum. Yes.
Nice. Ooh, my mouth's salivating already.
All right, Ms. Masai, we have just a little bit more time, just a little bit, for one final question, and it is this. What is your vision for developing young people in Antigua and Barbuda and the wider Caribbean?
Yes. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful question. I have been of the view for many years that what my country and the Caribbean needs, and I focus a lot on the sub-region, the OECS countries, because there is so much more commonality and sense of purpose and history and culture which unites us as a people than which divides us. And I think the so-called divisions are mere artificial and superficial constructs that we have to just ignore and put behind us. Now, where it comes to developing young people, I believe that starts in large part by a conscientious government or governments prepared to restructure, refashion, revolutionize, if you will, our curriculum, because our young people are the now. One of my young colleagues reminded us just a few months ago that the young people are not satisfied to be told that the future belongs to the young people. The now belongs to them. And I agree with that completely. And so if we are to propel our young people to be the best of themselves, to develop, to pursue their passions, to be successful, this requires the educational system, as I just said, to be restructured, to be revolutionized, to the point where we are teaching our young people and grooming them for the economies which we need to develop if we are to survive in this era of globalization, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have to support their passions. And their passions, I have learned and I understand and I accept, no longer fit into the mainstream educational system. One colleague reminds us from time to time that 15, 20 years ago, maybe not even that long, you said to your parents, oh, I want to be a graphic designer. I want to be an artist. I want to be a singer. In typical Caribbean style, they'd say, but we're talking about just stop your foolishness. You need a real job. And we just spoke about the creative economy, the orange economy. And it is here that you see these passions come alive. In the business world today, you can hardly be successful if you don't have a good brand, if you don't have graphics that portray the product or services which you're trying to promote and to sell and to offer. You can no longer have a good a business model if there's not a jingle to go along with it. And so I think the way the world has evolved today is forcing us to wake up and pay attention and to realize that if we refashion and restructure in the right way, in a consistent and sustainable way, then we would have done the best for our young people so that their passions will become normalized and we're not looking at them as the exception. And I also wish to say that as a part of the revolutionization of that educational system, we need to fully embrace the technical and educational vocational model and no longer see TVET as a space for dropouts, a space for people who cannot learn the mainstream curriculum, who don't fit in. Because, listen, we live in houses, we work in buildings, we drive vehicles, and I don't think any of these things are built and designed by lawyers and doctors and accountants and so on. They are built by men and women who are plumbers, who are engineers, who are designers, who are plumbers, who are steel benders, who are excellent with sheet rock construction, so that you can, in a day, knock down dry walls and redesign a space. And so I don't know where we came up with this idea that people who are into technical and vocational, the technical and vocational trade, were not smart people. They have to be some of the smartest people out there, you know, to be able to know the consistency, to keep a building together, to you know, we have a plumbing problem. Most of us would freak out. We need a plumber because we don't understand the mechanics of plumbing, et cetera, et cetera. So the best thing, as I said in a nutshell, that we can do for our young people is to redesign, redevelop, restructure, revolutionize that educational curriculum and that space. Yes. Have it more of a purpose-built one that suits the broad needs of various learners, so that we are training and developing enough people to be able to drive the various facets of our economies.
Thank you for your response to that question, Ms. Masai, and thank you for joining us and being our very first guest on Caribbean Connections. It was truly our pleasure. Best of luck to you.
My pleasure indeed. Have a
see you
good day
soon
and
for
a
that
great
food.
weekend to everyone. Yeah, see you soon. Good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And good. Have a good weekend to all of our listeners and viewers.
Indeed.
Thank you to you as well.
Bye-bye. Good. Bye-bye.
More Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Welcome to another edition of Infused Friday. We have another great infused water recipe for you to try out. Pineapple and sweet red bell pepper. I know what you're thinking, but this will bring a pep in your step. Here are some of the benefits you may experience from this exotic combination. Pineapple juice is rich in a variety of vitamins and minerals. It's especially packed with manganese, copper, vitamin B6 and vitamin C, all of which play important roles in the proper functioning of your body. Red capsicum or red bell pepper contains lycopene and a phytonutrient which helps to keep a healthy heart. It is also a rich source of folate and vitamin B6, along with antioxidants known to protect the body against free radicals. I know you cannot wait to try out this amazing fruit and vegetable infusion. Let's get you started with the following ingredients. You will need 6 pineapple cubes, 6 red capsicum cubes, enough fresh water to fill your jug or bottle. And the directions. Remember to wash your ingredients well. Chop and slice ingredients as necessary. Add to ingredients to a large jug or bottle. Stir ingredients and add fresh water and stir. Let it infuse, settle, and then serve into tall glasses. Can you taste the goodness already? Add more to your H2O. Check out the Facebook page every Friday for refreshing infused water recipes.
Good morning, SKN, and good morning, Caribbean. We are continuing with Caribbean Connections, a new feature of GMSKN, where every Friday we will connect you with one or more of our Caribbean neighbors and explore some of the wonderful persons and things happening. For the second half of Caribbean Connections today, we have with us entrepreneur Gian Franco out of Trinidad and Tobago. Gian is the visionary and founder of Pavilion Plus, an online streaming platform made for us by us, where one can get loads of varieties of Caribbean film and video content. He is the brain behind our own Caribbean Netflix. Good morning, Gian, and welcome to Good Morning SKN. It's truly our pleasure to have you here with us today.
Indeed.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's talk about the Pavilion Plus platform. How did it come to be, and what was the motivation and driving force behind it?
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a good couple of years since we started it, and it came to be primarily out of necessity. I think Caribbean stories are important. They deserve to be told, but there hasn't been a opportunity for those to be told in one place. And so realizing there was a gap in the market a couple of years ago, I sort of made the decision to try and fill that gap after working with a number of different partners within the region and hearing the same frustrations. And there's an analogy in the US, skate where the puck is going. It's an ice hockey analogy. Skate where the puck is going, not where it's been. And so instead of trying to figure out how to execute a project that would allow for the telling of Caribbean stories sort of 4 years ago in traditional media, we started planning for what we anticipated would be the streaming revolution that we're experiencing today. And we started laying the groundwork for that.
We had an artist yesterday that says that we depend on the overseas for what we need here when we have the services here. Was that a driving force as well behind you creating Pavilion Plus?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a couple of years, more than a couple of years ago, a couple of decades ago, Trinidad and Tobago had this project called Vision 2020. And the goal was to become a developed nation by the year 2020. And it was just fascinating to me that, one, we always had to get a foreign consultant to come and tell us how we should be operating locally. And then the second thing that was really eye-opening for me was the degree of brain drain that we had, where the best and brightest and the most talented people on the island would leave and they would never come back. And so it was in that moment, being a part of that project, I made the decision that, I want to leave. I want to go and learn as many things as I can, but I really want to come back and have a project and a solution, particularly in the media space, that could genuinely be homegrown and really reflect our culture and our nuance and the way that we do things, but then bring the best technology and insights and benefits from away and bring those two things together.
All right, so in a nutshell, does that capture or encapsulate the services that Pavilion Plus provides, or are there others?
Absolutely. So Pavilion Entertainment is a full-fledged studio. We're producing, we're distributing, and what that means is that we are primarily focused on and exclusively focused right now on Caribbean entertainment from across the region. And so we hope to fill a gap where, instead of local creatives, musicians, TV producers, film producers having to look abroad for opportunities, we can bridge that gap. We can provide all of the services that a major studio would provide internationally, but rather than having to go away to get those opportunities, you can stay right where you are, and we will be that connective tissue between the two worlds.
Oh, that's a great feat, and congratulations on what you would have achieved so far. Can you tell us how many Caribbean countries currently have content on Pavilion Plus?
Yes, I can give you the list. I can't give you the count off the top of my head, but there's St. Kitts and Nevis, obviously, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Guyana, Belize, Bahamas, Barbados, and obviously Jamaica as well has a huge treasure trove of content as well. So just around 10, and that's growing every day. I think one of the interesting things we found is that once people are made aware that this opportunity is available, people just start coming out of the woodwork with really incredible projects that wouldn't have seen the light of day otherwise, and they're sort of sitting down on their hard drives. And so now we're getting a really great engagement with the creative community as we present this opportunity for the world.
All right, so let's talk about something that we've experienced when we say turn on to other streaming platforms. We get not available in your region. And we want to know how Pavilion Plus has dealt with that concerning people who want to access Caribbean content outside of the region.
Yeah, so I have to admit, we went through that phase as well, right? And so one of our initial partners is the Roku channel, which is available in the US, UK, and Canada. And so as we were putting together this collection and promoting the availability of the collection, immediately people in the Caribbean were like, oh my goodness, I didn't know there was such an incredible library of content that I could watch, and they would start looking at it. And we, unfortunately, had to geo-block and say, hey, not available in your region. Because it just wasn't technologically and from a rights perspective, Roku didn't have the ability to be available in the region. And so that's actually what spurred us to launch our own proprietary platform so that people in the Caribbean absolutely could access it. And so now Pavilion Plus is available worldwide, wherever you have an internet connection on whatever device you choose. And it's not limited by any sort of geography or rights restrictions. It's absolutely available. And we did that primarily for our Caribbean audience. But if you are all of the way across the world in Asia or the Middle East or South America, you too have access to the service wherever you are. So we got rid of that. And that was definitely the motivating factor for us to get to where we are today.
Nice. Congrats again. Creative economy is the biggest economy being pushed right now in the Caribbean. How will Pavilion Plus increase the ability of Caribbean creators to earn like their international counterparts?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been the primary focus from the beginning. I'm a creative at heart, and most of my close friends are creatives. And, you know, we were sitting down one day and I said, you know, if one of us doesn't go and figure out this business thing, we're all going to be starving artists. And so I sort of took it upon myself to go and figure out how to drive that economic component to being a creative. And so that's at the core of everything that we do. The way we started was brokering a distribution deal with an international studio so that we knew immediately there would be revenue coming back. And then as we started to build our catalog, we had the opportunity to sort of create our own distribution platform through Pavilion Plus. And so as that revenue comes in, a lot of that revenue goes to our creatives, and it goes to them having a livelihood, but also having the ability to reinvest their talent, but also their money into creating more content. And so what we hope is that builds an incredible flywheel, right? The more content you provide, the more we can distribute it, the more revenue we can generate on your behalf, and by extension, the more we can continue to pay them. So that's absolutely at the core of what we do.
All right, so Jeanne, we're going to take a very short break, but we'll be back to talk with you on the other side of it. More Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
And we're back on Good Morning SKN as we continue our engaging discussion with Gian Franco. During the break, we saw a commercial with Pavilion Plus and our own, the cable. Tell us about the partnership with the cable and St. Kitts.
Yeah, so we have an incredibly exciting partnership with the cable and their Ultra TV package. And so anybody who's signing up for Ultra TV for the first time, they will be able to access Pavilion Plus completely free for 90 days. And existing customers, we haven't left you out either. So if you're an existing customer and you contact the cable at any of their contact numbers or their email, you can have that package activated for you as well. So everybody gets a taste thanks to the cable and Ultra TV.
All right, we keep talking around the issue. Let's go back to the look at the platform again, because Gianna, I was saying to you during the break that I want to know where the sitcoms are.
He wants a comedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you log into pavilionplus.co or you download the Pavilion Plus app from any of the app stores, right on the homepage, we know that people love their comedies. So if you scroll down, I think a little bit to the middle, you'll see a row dedicated to comedy TV shows. And, you know, the row is really exciting to me. So one of the things that we haven't done is explicitly delineated the content by country. If you dig in a little bit, you can find content from different, so you can choose the different islands that you want to get the content from. But immediately we just present content to you because we believe that there's more that unites the Caribbean than divides us, even culturally. And so you can go in and you might watch, say, for example, Those People, and then you'll listen to the accents and then you'll realize, oh, this is from Guyana, or another series from Jamaica or from Trinidad. Yes. But at its forefront, it's really just about presenting entertaining content and allowing people to dive in and focus on the story.
Nice, nice.
All right, so when people think of the Caribbean, I know that they instinctively think of tourism, and I guess we're going to make you sort of an ambassador of the Caribbean, although I think you've done that already effectively on your own. How do you hope to use Pavilion Plus to broaden the view of what people think of when they think of our region?
Yeah, I think that's in two ways. One, I want us to change how we perceive ourselves, right? Because I find that, you know, the expectations of content from the region are often quite low. But as you can see from the ad and from the content you see on the platform, not only is it high quality, but it's plentiful as well. And so for our local community, where we don't often get a chance to visit each other's islands, I hope that the platform provides an opportunity for people to travel, even if it's just virtually from in front of their TV screens. As you see different islands depicted on camera, you get to see the different nuances of the culture, but you also get to see how similar we are as well. So that would be the first thing. And then I think just to the world, that same opportunity of learning what the cultures are locally, what the nuances are, what our culture, our food, our creativity, our expression, seeing all of what that is as an international person who may be sitting down in Pakistan and never had the opportunity to visit Trinidad. I think seeing those videos and seeing the films and understanding the culture through a creative lens is a really, really powerful tool. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're booking their next vacation to come down to St. Kitts and Nevis because they saw Let's Do This, you know.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So our Caribbean population, including South America, is about 43 million, not including those living outside the region. How will Pavilion Plus, or what is the aim to bring the Caribbean countries, especially smaller ones, out of the fringes of the global social community?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the power of the platform, and it's one Caribbean. All of us are together. and it's not individual islands having to sort of fend for themselves to get a voice or to get the opportunities that may not be afforded to smaller islands or even bigger islands. I think, you look at Jamaica with, say, 2.3 or 2.4 million people, even by itself, with the powerhouse of creativity and culture that it is, they will be so much more empowered, working as a collective, working as a Caribbean community. And so we hope that, you take those 43 million people, you add on the diaspora as well, then we can have a seat at the table, be it through distribution, be it through creativity in itself, be it through opportunities where we have strength in numbers. And I think the platform allows us to plant those seeds. Those seeds already exist. I mean, in cricket, we are unified, right? Hopefully this is one more place that we can have a united front and a seat at the world table.
All right, so Jeanne, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit because I already told you what my favorite genre is. Do you have one? Do you have a favorite show on the platform, a favorite movie or anything like that?
Oh goodness. No, it's it's kind of like your children. You have to love all of them equally. But I will say, you know what, I'm very excited for Let's Do This because, as you know, it's coming out week to week, and so we're on week 3 now, and so I just want to know what happens. One of the things about having the platform is that you get to watch everything, either in quality control or as a consumer, and so I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with that, and shout out to Studio 327 for the great work that they're doing there. But I think in the comedy drama, I would have to say Life on Lexo Street. It's a little bit irreverent. Don't be fooled by the puppets. But I think, just in terms of the execution, the comedy, the nuance, and telling a story that is very, very Caribbean, I think in every way, shape, or form, but doing that with puppets. There's a little bit of dissonance that takes place when you're watching it, but once you dive in, it's hilarious. It's really, really great.
I've got the first recommendation from you, so thank you for that. I know what I'm going to watch
like those puppets too well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are some of the exciting new shows and features we can look forward to seeing on Pavilion Plus?
Yeah, so one of the things that our first goal was to collate as much existing content that exists across the Caribbean, right? Content that's already been made. We have movies from 1973 come to mind, BIM, which is a really interesting film out of Trinidad. We're getting some really great documentaries out of Jamaica that were made in the 60s as well. But with a platform like this, one of the things that we say is that you have to keep feeding the beast. Once people have signed up and they're watching content, they're going to be like, okay, I've watched everything that is interesting to me within the catalog. What's next? So we've aggressively been putting new content into production. And there are some really interesting female-focused projects that we're working on, just about lifestyle and being young mothers and creatives and entrepreneurs and spirituality, that we think will be really appealing to the audience. And we have a really big project around Carnival that we're working on now, which we think will be really exciting. And then we have a couple of dramas and films that are in various stages of development, but we hope that by the time people have watched all of the content, the hundreds of hours of content that we already have, that by the time they turn their head and they're like, okay, what's next? We have some really exciting new titles across multiple genres, not just sort of reality TV and maybe documentary, but in film and scripted film and movies as well, and TV shows as well.
This has been an exciting 15, 20 minutes talking with you, Jeanne. I can't wait to get on the platform, honestly. It sounds so very exciting. Honestly.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you were more than welcome. Hortensia's begging for more time with you. I don't know how she's going to do that. I don't know if, Jeanne, do you have a reality show on the platform called Living with Jeanne? Maybe she can watch it. I don't know.
Do you know what?
You never know.
As you say that, there's a series called Keeping Up with the Joneses out of Barbados that is literally that exact premise. And so if you want to know what it would really be like having a camera follow you around, I would check that one out as well. Great comedy.
I sure will.
It's been our pleasure, Jean. Again, congratulations on everything that you've accomplished so far. Best of luck to you as well.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. More Good Morning SKN in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and Paul from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. As usual, we are having a blast here in the studio. I'm reminding Cortensia of something I said yesterday that was very comical.
You don't want to know? You don't want to know.
You'll find out soon enough if I have my way, right? So hey, that's what it is. Anyway, great show today. Caribbean Connections, first time off the ground, right? Hit the ground running with that. Politician from Antigua and Barbuda.
Yes.
Accomplished attorney as well.
Yes.
And Jean Franco, founder of Prevalent Plus.
And the lover of pasta.
Well,
that was
yeah.
that interview went so well. Yes.
It's a great show indeed. Great show indeed. Wow, 201.
201 and many more to go. And we're so grateful that you keep watching and watching and watching, and our only hope is that you'll continue to grow with us.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So it's time for what's happening.
Yeah, always time for what's happening.
Okay. So here we go. Bakers needed. The St. Kitts Department of Youth Empowerment is looking for young bakers between the ages of 12 and 25 to compete in this year's Bake Off Challenge as part of their Youth Month celebrations in November. Lots of prizes to be won. Interested persons are asked to contact the Department of Youth Empowerment at 467-1393 or call 662-6054. Again, it's a bake-off challenge and you bakers are needed.
Go and bake. Give One, Touch One is back with another clothing drive. You are invited to come and shop for new and lightly used items for adults and kids from donors. The drive is this Sunday, the 16th of October from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Flow Grounds. All items are free as the organization continues to cope with the post-pandemic economy. So go out and support.
It's nice. All items are free, and that's a good one, right?
Yes.
Really good. So you're definitely going to support there.
Yeah.
Great initiative.
Give one to touch one.
All right, so that's what's happening. Again, we're going to quickly recap what happened because this is the end of the week when we had our 200th episode. And if we have to recap, which we didn't do yesterday really, what happened yesterday? What was your favorite part?
Yeah, it was a great show. I'm grateful for everyone that watched, everyone that participated, everyone that called. We're grateful for the sponsors. Sponsors, thank you. We couldn't give away those prizes without you once again. Although I'm also grateful for being Turkey Killer 2.0. Yes, I love shiny. Always wear shiny when it's a big celebration around here, just for my co-hosts.
You know, I teased you about Turkey Killer because I realized that he was here for episode 100, and he also racked up the most views along with Malia Erskine for episode 100. So I said, you know what? It's an ode to Turkey Killer that you're coming with sequence. I've got my plans about what we're going to do with that. I'm not going to tell you because, you know, I'm trying to convince people in the studio that it would be a great idea, Cortensia included. In any event,
good idea.
Suffice it to say, it's inclined to be comical at best, right? Yeah,
He's
you guys
trying
know
to
me
get
by
a
now.
show on Pavilion Plus. He's trying to get one on
Hey,
Pavilion
you never know, it
Plus.
might work. Hey, we got the contact now, right? We've got the hookup. All right, so we want to thank you guys for joining us today. As always, remember to follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube at Studio327INC and Instagram at Good Morning SKN. So those are the handles, right? Good Morning SKN. So very easy to find us. Of course, you can also use the hashtag GMSKN to get a look at our content, to find it very, very easily. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share, and check us out online at www.studio327inc.com.
Yeah, and join us every morning. This is our last program for this week on our Friday, so join us every morning to share in all the exciting guest topics and activities here on Good Morning SKN. As always, leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show, especially our newest segment, Caribbean Connections. And this is where myself and Jamie would say, see you on Monday morning at 8 a.m. when I compel you to begin your mornings with us right here at Good Morning SKN. Thanks for watching as usual and have a great day, guys.
Bye, guys.